Dr. Kim Tae-ho stood frozen at the window of the Earth Defense Command Center, his eyes fixed on the large screen displaying the lunar surface. One moment, the colony was there, 5,000 people living and working in the gleaming domes that had been humanity's pride for the last decade. The next moment, everything vanished in a blinding flash of light, no warning, no mercy. Around him, military officers and government officials gasped or cursed. Someone behind him was crying quietly. Tae-ho felt an odd numbness spreading through his body, a scientist's defense mechanism kicking in when emotions threatened to overwhelm. "Replay the message," ordered General Ryu, her voice tight with barely controlled rage. The alien transmission flickered back onto the main screen. The being that called itself the High Counselor looked almost like a tall human, except for the silvery skin and eyes with vertical pupils. Its voice had been translated into flat, emotionless English. "People of Earth, the Galactic Council has observed your civilization for 200 years. We find you lacking in the qualities necessary for independent status. Your history of violence, your wasteful use of resources, and your primitive technology make you unsuitable for equal membership. You will surrender 30% of your planetary resources immediately. You will accept guidance and oversight from Council representatives. This is not a negotiation. The removal of your lunar outpost demonstrates our resolve. You have 7 Earth days to comply." Tae-ho watched President Park Ji-woo's face grow darker with each word. He'd known her for 15 years, since they were both young professors. He'd never seen her look so furious. "They killed 5,000 people to make a point," she said quietly when the message ended. 5,000 people. The room erupted into shouting. Military leaders demanded immediate preparation for defense. The Secretary of State insisted they needed to attempt diplomacy. The science advisor began listing Earth's weapon capabilities compared to what they'd seen of the Council technology. Tae-ho barely heard them. His mind was racing through everything he knew about the alien physiology. For 20 years, he'd been studying the scattered remains of alien visitors, the crashed ship in Brazil, the partial corpse found in the Arctic ice, the strange artifacts occasionally discovered around the world. The government had brought him in as a consultant, then eventually made him the head of the secret xenobiology department. What these aliens didn't know, couldn't know, was that Tae-ho had discovered more about them than they realized. "Dr. Kim?" The president's voice cut through his thoughts. "You've been unusually quiet. What's your assessment?" The room fell silent as everyone turned to look at him. Tae-ho took a deep breath. "Madam President, everyone here is approaching this as if we're dealing with humans who simply look different. We're not. These beings evolved on worlds nothing like ours. Their biology, psychology, and social structures are fundamentally different." He stepped forward, calling up data on his tablet and projecting it onto the main screen. "Based on the specimens and technology we've recovered over the years, I believe the Council species come from worlds with minimal environmental pressures, stable climates, few predators, abundant resources. They've had technology for much longer than we have, but they've never faced the kinds of challenges humans have overcome." Tae-ho swiped to a new screen showing comparative physiological data. "They can't handle temperature variations we consider normal. Their neural pathways are more efficient, but less adaptable than ours. Their social structures appear to be highly hierarchical and static." The defense secretary frowned. "What does this have to do with them threatening to destroy our planet?" Tae-ho looked directly at President Park. "They've made a grave miscalculation. They see our technological disadvantage, but miss our greatest strength, our ability to adapt." President Park's eyes widened slightly as she understood his meaning. "You're suggesting we can fight back against a civilization capable of destroying our moon base in seconds? I'm suggesting that humans evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages and meteor strikes. We can eat almost anything, live almost anywhere. We invented thousands of different societies and languages. When faced with a threat, humans don't just accept it. We change, we adapt, we overcome." Tae-ho gestured to the alien message still frozen on the screen. "Look at their ultimatum. It's rigid, absolute. There's no room for negotiation or creative solutions. That suggests they can't conceive of alternatives to their hierarchy. They expect us to either submit or be destroyed, because those are the only options in their worldview. The room had gone completely silent. "So what do we do?" asked the president quietly. Tejo took a deep breath. "We need to understand them better than they understand us. We need to identify their weaknesses, biological, psychological, technological, and then we need to do what humans have always done when faced with a superior force." "Which is?" prompted General Ryu. Tejo's eyes hardened as he thought of the eye. 5,000 lives snuffed out without warning. We change the rules of the game. They're expecting either submission or a direct, hopeless confrontation. We give them neither. Instead, we show them why it was a mistake to provoke a species that turned being cornered into an art form. President Park nodded slowly, her expression shifting from despair to determination. "I need a concrete plan, Dr. Kim, and I need it. Within 24 hours. You'll have it," Tejo promised. "But first I need access to everything we have on their technology, and I mean everything." As the emergency session disbanded into urgent action groups, Tejo couldn't help but think that the Galactic Council had just made the worst mistake in their history. They had provoked a species that had survived by outsmarting stronger predators for millions of years. They would soon learn why that was a terrible idea. Colonel Lee Sung-min's breath formed small clouds in the freezing air as he and his team crept through the shadows of the Council outpost. Jupiter loomed enormous in the sky above Europa, casting an eerie glow across the icy surface. The alien structure before them resembled a massive silver spider, with its central dome and 8 extending corridors. "Motion sensors disabled," whispered Lieutenant Park, her fingers moving deftly across her tablet. "We have 7 minutes before their system reset." Sung-min nodded and signaled the team forward. 6 humans in experimental stealth suits that bent light around them, making them nearly invisible. 6 humans about to infiltrate an alien military base that could vaporize Earth if they failed. No pressure. They moved silently through an airlock they'd compromised, entering the alien structure. The interior was lit with a soft blue glow that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The temperature immediately rose to uncomfortably warm levels. "Masks on," Sung-min ordered quietly. "Remember, we're here to gather intel, not engage. If you're spotted, use the disorientation tech, then disappear. No heroics." For 3 tense hours, they moved through the facility, planting tiny observation devices and collecting data. Sung-min had expected to feel fear, but instead found himself fascinated. The aliens, at least 5 different species working together in the outpost, moved with precision through their tasks. Every action seemed programmed, efficient. Too efficient, he realized, too predictable. When his team finally extracted, carrying terabytes of stolen data and samples of alien technology, he knew they had something valuable, something that might save Earth. 2 days later, Sung-min stood in the underground war room at headquarters, facing General Yoon Hee-jin and the assembled military leadership. The dark circles under his eyes testified to his lack of sleep since returning from Europa. "What? We discovered changes our entire understanding of the Council," he began, bringing up holographic displays of the data they'd retrieved. "They're not just technologically advanced, they're fundamentally different from us in ways that give us unexpected advantages." He showed footage from inside the outpost. "Notice how every species has a specific role. There's no crossover, no adaptation. The hierarchy is absolute and unchanging." General Hee-jin leaned forward, her sharp eyes taking in every detail. "Explain." "The Council species evolved in stable environments," Sung-min reported, bringing up biological data. "Their homeworlds had predictable seasons, minimal natural disasters, and stable food sources. As a result, they specialized rather than adapted. They have rigid thinking patterns and standardized technology." He pulled up comparison charts. Their neural pathways are incredibly efficient for specific tasks, but they struggle with rapid changes or unexpected variables. Their technology is impressive, but standardized across their empire. The same designs, same protocols, same weaknesses. Everywhere. A major in the back raised his hand. "How does this help us against ships that can obliterate our cities from orbit?" Sung-min nodded to acknowledge the valid concern. Because we now understand that their greatest strength, their technological advantage, comes with a critical weakness: predictability. He displayed footage of how the aliens responded to small sabotage his team had carried out. Watch how they react to the power fluctuation we caused. They follow the exact same emergency protocol every time. No improvisation, no adaptation. General He-Jin's eyes narrowed as she processed this information. And we've spent our entire evolutionary history adapting to chaos and competition. We can use that. Exactly, Sung-min confirmed. They expect us to either surrender or fight conventionally, both losing propositions for us, but they have no concept of guerrilla warfare, of changing tactics, of improvisation. Those are uniquely human strengths, born from surviving on a planet that tried to kill us at every turn. Across the complex in the science division, Dr. Kang Dae-hyun was reaching similar conclusions. As the lead researcher analyzing the alien biological samples, he'd made breakthrough after breakthrough in understanding their physiology. Their sensory systems are both more sensitive and more limited than ours, he explained to his team, pointing to neural scans. They can detect radiation and electrical fields we can't, but they're overwhelmed by sensory input levels we consider normal. His assistant, Dr. Nam, looked up from her microscope. Like how they keep their environment so precisely regulated. Yes, Dae-hyun nodded eagerly. A 5-degree temperature change that humans would barely notice causes them significant distress. Noise levels we consider moderate are painful to them, and their group psychology is even more rigid than their biology. He brought up sociological models based on their observations. They simply cannot comprehend working outside their hierarchy. Each species has its role, each individual has its place, and deviation is unthinkable. After days of intensive analysis, Dae-hyun's team identified 3 critical human advantages: environmental adaptability, stress resilience, and unprecedented cooperation under threat. Humans can function in environments ranging from desert to Arctic, he told the assembled military and scientific leadership. We can endure pain, hunger, and fear while still making decisions. And most importantly, when threatened, humans with different languages, beliefs, and cultures will work together in ways the Council species simply cannot understand. General He-jin nodded slowly as the implications became clear. So we use environments they can't function in. We create chaos they can't adapt to. We cooperate in ways they can't predict. Exactly, Dae-hyun confirmed. Their technology evolved. Here in a different direction than ours. They focused on efficiency and standardization. We focused on flexibility and innovation. Sung-min stepped forward. Their ships are faster and more powerful than anything we have, but their tactics are by the book and unchanging. They've never faced an enemy that adapts as quickly as humans do. The room fell silent as the possibilities sank in. They were still outgunned, still facing a technologically superior enemy. But for the first time since the lunar colony was destroyed, there was a glimmer of hope. General He-jin stood, her decision made. We have 4 days before their deadline. I want assault plans that exploit these weaknesses. I want weapons that target their biological vulnerabilities, and I want strategies they cannot possibly prepare for. She looked around the room. We are not fighting a conventional war, people. We are fighting to show the Galactic Council they made a terrible mistake when they provoked humanity. As the meeting broke up into urgent action groups, Sung-min caught Dae-hyun's eye across the room. A silent understanding passed between the soldier and the scientist. The Council had studied humans as subjects, as potential servants. They should have studied humans as predators, as survivors. That mistake would cost them dearly. Captain Choi Jisoo's palms were sweaty inside her flight gloves as she watched the radar display. 5 small ships, barely more than upgraded shuttles, glided silently through the darkness of space. Behind them, Earth was a small blue dot. Ahead, growing larger with each passing minute, loomed the Council outpost orbiting Mars. "Status report," she said, keeping her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "Stealth systems functioning at 96% efficiency," replied her second-in-command, Lieutenant Kang. "We're practically invisible to their sensors." Jisoo nodded. The stealth technology, reverse-engineered from a crashed alien scout ship found buried in the Gobi Desert, was humanity's first real advantage. The Council didn't know they had it, didn't know humans had spent 15 years slowly unraveling the secrets of alien tech. All ships maintain formation, she ordered through the secure channel. Remember your training. Remember the lunar colony. 5,000 innocent people gone in an instant. A demonstration of power, the Council had called it. Jisoo called it mass murder, and today was the day humanity answered back. The outpost grew larger on their screens, a massive structure shaped like a wheel with a central hub. According to intelligence, it housed 300 Council personnel, mainly researchers and a small security force. The Council was so confident in their superiority that they'd positioned only 2 patrol ships to guard it. 2 minutes to deployment range, Lieutenant Kang announced. Jisoo activated the ship wide. Come. This is your captain. In 2 minutes, we strike the first blow for Earth. You all know what's at stake. If we fail, there won't be a second chance. She paused, looking at the determined faces of her crew. But we won't fail. We've trained for this. We know their weaknesses. They think humans are primitive, violent, and predictable. Let's show them just how wrong they are. A chorus of affirmative responses filled the channel. Deployment range in 30 seconds, Kang reported. Jisoo took a deep breath. Armed disorientation compounds. Throughout the small fleet, canisters of specially designed chemical agents were prepared for launch. Dr. Kang Dae-hyun's team had created them, odorless and harmless to humans, but devastating to the sensory systems of the 5 main council species. The compounds would overload their ability to process information without causing permanent damage. Non-lethal, Dae-hyun had insisted during the planning stage. We need to show we're better than them, not just as strong. Range achieved, announced Kang. Ready on your order. Jisoo straightened in her chair. Deploy disorientation compounds. From each ship, small canisters shot toward the outpost, targeting the air filtration systems intelligence had identified. They latched on silently, then began pumping the compounds into the station's air supply. Now we wait, Jisoo said. For 3 tense minutes, nothing happened. Then chaos erupted. The outpost's external lights began flickering erratically, comm channels filled with confused, panicked alien voices. The 2 patrol ships moved sluggishly, their flight patterns becoming erratic. They're experiencing the full effects, Kang reported, monitoring the data feeds. Disorientation, confusion, inability to focus, just as Dr. Kang predicted. Jisoo allowed herself a small smile. All ships, Phase 2. Target patrol vessels. With EMP weapons. The human fleet split into 2 groups, each approaching one of the alien patrol ships. From their hulls extended specialized equipment, another human innovation, designed to overwhelm and temporarily disable the alien ship's electrical systems without destroying them. EMP charging, reported the weapons officer. Ready in 3, 2, 1, firing. Pulses of energy shot from the human vessels, enveloping the alien ships in crackling blue light. Both patrol ships went dark almost immediately, their engines shutting down, their weapon systems offline. Boarding teams, go, Jisoo ordered. From 3 of the human ships, specially trained soldiers in spacesuits launched themselves toward the disabled patrol vessels. These weren't traditional military personnel. They were rock climbers, deep-sea, divers, extreme sports enthusiasts, people who thrived in the most challenging environments, people who could think creatively under pressure. Jisoo watched tensely as the boarding teams attached themselves to the hulls of the alien ships, cutting their way inside using tools designed based on the alien materials. Captain, we're getting a transmission from the outpost, Kang reported suddenly. They're trying to surrender. Jisoo's eyebrows shot up. Already? The disorientation compounds are affecting them more severely than we anticipated. They can't coordinate a defense. Jisoo hadn't expected this. The Council commanders were supposed to be hardened veterans of numerous campaigns, yet faced with an attack outside their experience, with sensory inputs they couldn't process, they were falling apart. Team 1 has secured the first patrol ship, came the report from the boarding team leader. Minimal resistance. The crew they're hiding in storage compartments. They seem terrified. Within minutes, both patrol ships were under human control, their alien crews contained in secure areas. The outpost itself had gone into lockdown, but with the security vessels captured, it posed no threat. Captain, Kang said, voice filled. With wonder. We did it. We actually did it. Jisoo looked at the screens showing the captured alien vessels. Sleek, powerful ships now under human control. Ships that contained advanced weapons, drive systems, and communications technology that would revolutionize Earth's defenses. Send the message to Earth Command, she ordered. Operation First Strike successful. 3 Council vessels captured intact with all technology preserved, outpost neutralized, 0 human casualties. As the message was sent, Jisoo allowed herself to feel the full weight of what they'd accomplished. This wasn't just a military victory, it was a psychological one. The Council had expected either surrender or a hopeless frontal assault. Instead, humans had struck from hiding, using the Council's own biology against them, capturing their technology rather than destroying it. Begin extracting the navigation data and communication protocols from the captured ships, she instructed. I want to know everything. Where their main fleet is, how they communicate, what their command structure looks like. The information they were gathering would be crucial for the next phase. Earth still faced overwhelming odds, but now they had alien ships to study, alien prisoners to negotiate with, and most importantly, they had broken the aura of invincibility surrounding the Galactic Council. As her crew worked frantically to secure their prizes, Jisoo stared out at the stars. The Council had expected humans to behave like every other species they'd conquered, to follow predictable patterns, to play by the established rules of warfare. They never expected humans to change the game entirely. And that was just the beginning of their miscalculations. The underground hangar hummed with nervous energy as 12 pilots prepared to make history. Dr. Bae Do-young moved from station to station, checking the neural interface equipment attached to each pilot's flight suit. These weren't ordinary pilots. They were the 12 people on Earth whose brains had shown the highest compatibility with the alien technology. Remember, Do-young told each of them, the interface doesn't read your thoughts, it reads your intentions. Don't think about moving left. Intend to move left. The ship will respond. Pilot Song Hee-jin nodded nervously as Do-young adjusted her neural cap. Once a championship video game player, now she would fly an actual spacecraft using nothing but her mind. Is it going to hurt? She asked quietly. Do-young smiled reassuringly. You'll feel a pressure, then a strange sense of expansion, like your mind is suddenly filling a much larger space. He checked her readings one final time. You've scored the highest in all our simulations. You're ready for this. Across the hangar the ships waited, 12 vessels unlike anything humans had built before. After capturing the Council patrol ships, Earth's engineers had taken them, apart, studied every component, and rebuilt them with modifications. They were now hybrid craft. Alien technology guided by human ingenuity, powered by both Council energy systems and human creativity. The central command platform overlooked the hangar. Admiral Han Min-ho stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the final preparations. His weathered face betrayed no emotion, but inside his heart pounded with both fear and hope. Council battle fleet has entered lunar orbit, announced his communications officer. 37 ships detected, including 1 command vessel. Min-ho nodded, exactly as their intelligence had predicted. How long until they're in range? 23 minutes, sir. Begin neural interface startup sequence. Do-young's voice came over the comm. All pilots, prepare for neural sync in 3, 2, 1. Throughout the hangar, the pilots gasped in unison as the neural interfaces activated. Their consciousness expanded suddenly, flowing into the ships they were paired with. It wasn't like controlling a vehicle, it was like becoming one. Neural interfaces online, announced Do-young, watching the readings with growing excitement. All pilots successfully merged consciousness with hybrid spacecraft. On the monitors, brainwave patterns synced with ship systems in perfect harmony. The alien technology, designed for species with rigid, specialized neural pathways, was now connected to the adaptable, creative human mind. The result was something neither humans nor the Council had ever seen before. Hye-jin opened her eyes, but she wasn't seeing the hangar anymore. She was seeing in all directions simultaneously, feeling the energy coursing through her ship's systems. As if it were her own body, she flexed her mind and the ship lifted effortlessly from the ground. "This is," she whispered, "this is incredible." One by one, the 12 ships rose, hovering in perfect formation. No pilots touching controls, no manual adjustments, just pure mental connection between human and machine. Admiral Min-ho allowed himself a small smile. "Launch the decoys." Across Earth's surface, hundreds of small drones took flight, each emitting signals mimicking the hybrid ships. It would appear to the Council's sensors that Earth was launching a massive, disorganized counterattack, exactly what they would expect from a primitive species facing extinction. "The Council fleet has begun deploying into standard combat formation," reported the tactical officer. "They're spreading out to engage the decoys." "Perfect," Min-ho nodded. "They're following their playbook exactly as predicted. Release the hybrid squad." The massive hangar doors slid open above them, revealing the night sky. The 12 hybrid ships shot upward at impossible speeds, their human pilots experiencing no G-forces thanks to the modified alien inertial dampeners. "Remember your training." Min-ho's voice reached all pilots through their neural interfaces. "They expect a frontal assault. They expect desperation. Give them calculation instead. Give them human ingenuity." As the hybrid ships cleared the atmosphere, they immediately scattered, each taking a different vector that made no sense according to conventional military tactics. The Council fleet, arranged in their perfect geometric formation, began tracking the unexpected movements too slowly. "They're confused," Ye-jin reported, feeling a strange sense of the enemy's reactions through her ship's sensors. "Their command vessel is sending the same orders repeatedly, trying to realign their forces." Min-ho's eyes narrowed as he watched the tactical display. The massive Council command ship sat at the center of their formation, surrounded by layers of defensive vessels, a traditional hierarchy made physical. Exactly their weakness. "All ships maintain evasive patterns," he ordered. "Activate countermeasures." From each hybrid ship, dozens of small devices were launched. Yet another human. Innovation. As they approached the Council vessels, they attached to their hulls and began broadcasting contradictory command codes, jamming communications, and flooding their sensors with false readings. The Council fleet's perfect formation began to waver as ships lost contact with each other and their command center. "Their coordination is breaking down," reported the tactical officer. "They're trying to re-establish communications, but our jammers are working. Each ship is now operating independently." Min-ho nodded grimly. "Now, while they're disorganized, target their command structure. Operation Thunderclap begins now." Through their neural interfaces, the pilots received detailed targeting information. They didn't need to be told twice. As one, the 12 hybrid ships converged from different angles, moving with a speed and precision no manual pilot could achieve. The Council fleet, designed to function as a unified whole under centralized command, now consisted of individual ships trying to follow protocols that assumed perfect communication. Their formation, once unbreakable, had gaps. They're coordinated. Defense systems had blind spots. Ye-jin's ship dove through one such gap, 3 others following in her wake. Council weapons fired, but too slowly. The human neural interfaces allowed reaction times impossible for any physical control system. "I'm approaching the command vessel," she reported, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. "Their defensive screen is attempting to reform, but they're predictable. I can see the patterns." That was the key difference. The Council ships followed programmed responses, consistent and efficient but utterly predictable to the human mind that excelled at pattern recognition. Where a Council pilot saw chaos in the human attack, Ye-jin saw opportunities. "All ships converge on these coordinates," Min-ho ordered, highlighting a section of the command vessel. "Intelligence indicates their central communication node is located there." The hybrid ships swarmed toward the target, evading defensive fire with seemingly impossible maneuvers. No human pilot could have survived such extreme changes in direction, but with the neural interfaces, the ships moved as extensions of the pilot's thoughts. "Firing disruptor beams," Ye-jin announced, concentrated energy beams, modified versions of Council technology, struck the command vessel precisely at its communication node, not to destroy but to disable, to isolate. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Throughout the Council fleet, ships suddenly lost their coordination entirely. Some froze in place, waiting for orders that wouldn't come. Others began following emergency protocols that contradicted each other. "Their command structure is disabled," reported the tactical officer, disbelief in his voice. It's falling apart." The Council fleet's rigid formations broke apart under the unpredictable human assault. Their hierarchical command structure, once their strength, became their fatal weakness. Without central direction, the individual ships couldn't adapt, couldn't innovate. "Transmit the surrender demand," Minho ordered, "on all frequencies in all Council languages." The message was simple: stand down or be disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. Even now, facing the species that had casually murdered 5,000 humans, Earth was offering a path that didn't end in annihilation. One by one, the Council ships powered down their weapons. Without the command structure they relied on, without the protocols to guide them, they reverted to the most basic instructions: when defeated, surrender. In the hybrid ship, Hyojin watched with a mixture of triumph and disbelief. "They're actually surrendering," she whispered. "We did it!" Minho allowed himself to breathe properly for the first time since the battle began. "Not yet," he corrected. "We've won the battle. But changing the Galactic Council, that's going to be the real fight." As the Council ships hung powerless in Earth's orbit, the truth became clear to everyone watching. Humanity had done the impossible. Not through superior numbers or technology, but by understanding their enemy and turning strength into weakness. The Council had never lost a war before. They were about to learn that defeat, like victory, could be educational. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never held such a diverse gathering. For thousands of years, only the highest-ranking members of the 27 Council species had been permitted to set foot in this vaulted hall with its arching crystalline ceiling and ancient stone floor. Now, representatives from over 50 different worlds filled the space, their murmured conversations creating a symphony of languages and dialects. Ambassador Kim Jin-woo adjusted his formal diplomatic robes as he waited to be announced. Though his expression remained calm, his heart pounded wildly in his chest. 3 months ago, he had been a university professor specializing in international relations. Now he represented all of humanity at the most important diplomatic meeting. "In Earth's history, are you ready?" asked Dr. Omire, standing beside him. Once Earth's leading xenopsychologist, she had become Jin-woo's chief advisor in understanding the complex social dynamics of the various alien species. Jin-woo took a deep breath. "As ready as anyone can be to rewrite the rules of galactic politics." The massive doors to the inner chamber swung open. A hush fell over the assembled delegates as Jin-woo and Mirei walked forward, their footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. At the far end of the hall sat the 7 remaining High Counselors, once the unchallenged rulers of known space, now the leaders of a crumbling empire. High Counselor Zexithran, his silver skin dulled with age and stress, spoke first. "The human representatives may approach." Jin-woo walked steadily toward the raised platform where the council sat. He felt the eyes of every being in the room upon him, some curious, some hopeful, some openly hostile. The victory over the council fleet had shocked the galaxy. No species had ever successfully resisted council authority, let alone defeated their military might. "You come before us to dictate terms," said Zexithran, his translated voice flat and emotionless. "An unprecedented situation." Jin-woo bowed slightly, a gesture of respect rather than submission. "I come before you to propose a new beginning," he corrected, "for all our peoples." He turned to address the entire assembly, his voice strong and clear. 3 months ago, the Galactic Council demanded Earth's submission. They killed 5,000 of our people as a demonstration of power. They expected us to surrender or be destroyed because those were the only outcomes their experience had taught them to expect. Jin-woo paused, making eye contact with delegates from various species. "But humans have spent our entire history learning different lessons. We learned that diversity breeds strength. We learned that adaptation overcomes superior force. And most importantly, We learned that true cooperation achieves more than domination ever could. He gestured to the data displays hovering before each delegate. What you're receiving now is our proposal for a new interstellar organization, the Terran Cooperative. Not an empire ruled from Earth, but a true alliance of equals. Murmurs swept through the chamber as the delegates reviewed the proposal. Jinwoo continued speaking over the growing buzz of conversation. Today marks the beginning of the Terran Cooperative, he announced formally. Unlike your council, our alliance will be built on mutual respect, not domination. On shared progress, not centralized control. On the principle that diversity of thought, biology, and culture creates strength, not weakness. One of the High Counselors, a massive insectoid being, clicked its mandibles angrily. You presume to replace a system that has maintained peace for 10,000 years with an untested model? Based on what authority? Mireille stepped forward. Based on results, she said simply. Your system of rigid hierarchy and enforced specialization created remarkable stability, yes, but it also created stagnation. Your technology has barely advanced in 3,000 years. Your society has calcified into unchanging roles. When faced with an unexpected challenge, humanity, your entire system collapsed. Before the Council could respond, a delegate from the Prel system, a species long subjugated by Council rule, rose from their seat. The humans speak truth that many of us have known but feared to voice. My people were forced into mining roles 5,000 years ago because our bodies evolved for digging. We have been denied education, denied technological advancement, denied even the right to space travel without Council permission. Another delegate stood, this one from a gaseous species that floated in its containment field. The Mist Collective has served as atmosphere processors for Council worlds for 7,000 years. We have been treated as equipment, not as people. We support this human proposal. One by one, representatives from species that had chafed under Council rule rose to speak. Some had been military allies, forced to provide troops. Others had been designated as agricultural producers, their entire civilizations restricted to farming. All had been assigned rigid roles in the Council hierarchy based on their biological characteristics, with no freedom to evolve or change. Jinwoo watched with growing hope as more than 30 species formally declared their support for the Terran Cooperative. It was more than they had dared to expect. High Counselor Zexthran raised his hand for silence. When the chamber quieted, he spoke with unmistakable bitterness. It seems the humans have won more than a military victory. They have won the hearts of many Council worlds. He fixed Jinwoo with his vertical pupilled gaze. And what becomes of the Council species in this new order? Are we to be punished for our miscalculation regarding Earth? Jinwoo shook his head. Punitive measures would only continue the cycle of domination and resistance. All species, including the former Council rulers, are invited to join the cooperative as equals. Your knowledge and experience will be valued, but not your authority to determine how others should live. For several tense moments, Zexthran stared at Jinwoo, his alien features unreadable. Then, slowly, he nodded. We accept these terms. The Council yields to the Terran Cooperative. A cheer erupted from many of the delegates. Species that had been enemies under Council rule embraced each other. Representatives who had never been permitted to speak in the chamber were suddenly surrounded by those eager to hear their perspectives. As formal proceedings began for the signing of what would become known as the Sol Accords, Mireille found herself standing next to Jinwoo, watching history unfold before them. I never imagined we'd be here, she said quietly. When the lunar colony was destroyed, I thought we were witnessing the beginning of the end for humanity. Jinwoo nodded. Instead, it was the beginning of the end for an empire that had forgotten how to change. A young aide approached them, carrying a communication device. Admiral Han sends his congratulations, she reported. Earth's defense fleet is standing down from high alert. The last Council warships have accepted the new command protocols. As the various species mingled freely, many for the first time in their histories, Mireille found herself addressing a group of curious delegates who had gathered around her. We didn't win because we were stronger, she explained, answering their questions about humanity's improbable victory. We won because centuries of our own conflicts taught us that true power comes from cooperation and adaptation, lessons the Council never learned. A delegate with iridescent scales tilted its head. But surely your victory in battle was what forced this change, Mireille smiled. The battle was just a catalyst. Look around you, how quickly all these species have embraced the chance for a different relationship with each other. The Council's system was already failing. It just needed someone to prove it wasn't invincible. As the formal treaty was sealed with the marks and signatures of 54 species, Jinwu felt a profound sense of responsibility settle over him. Humanity had achieved more than survival. They had sparked a galactic revolution. Now they would need to ensure that the principles they had fought for, adaptability, cooperation, diversity, became the foundation of this new interstellar community. The Galactic Council had provoked Earth, expecting submission from a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened something they couldn't comprehend, a species whose greatest strength lay not in technology or biology, but in their endless capacity to change the rules of the game. As Jinwu looked out at the new galactic order taking shape before his eyes, he knew the real work was just beginning. But for the first time in human history, they wouldn't be facing the universe alone.